Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. We begin our new episode with the story of Crazy Karen who almost got away with it. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. She deserved worse, in my opinion. So I shortly worked as a waiter at a bar and grill in California while visiting for 2 months. I would see a lot of crappy people come in and out, so I got used to dealing with rude customers. But this one Karen was notorious for complaining about anything and everything. Anyway, my grandpa, real silver fox, was a gravel site manager or something. Anyway, very well off, always spoiled us. Well, while I was down there, he was diagnosed with cancer. My cousin, who's very close to him, came and told me the news while I was on my shift. I still had 5 hours till I was off, and my boss was also an a-hole, so I didn't bother asking to go early. 3 hours later, my grandpa comes in with a big smile and hugs me, and I have a hard time trying not to cry. And guess who decides to test my patience? Karen. She taps both my grandpa and me on the shoulder and says, "Can I get some GD service here?" Sees my watery bloodshot eyes and then says, "Oh great, who the hell died?" in a very condescending tone. I snapped at her and said, "My grandpa has cancer." And she straight up, I still can't believe this, straight up says, "My husband has cancer too. That doesn't make him special. Get over it." My jaw hit the floor. Fast forward 2 weeks and my grandpa passed away. I'm on my shift, just trying to get my mind off, and here comes Karen. I take her order. By this point, I'm jaded and just feel dead, and Karen notices this and says, "Jesus, somebody die again? Was it that grandpa with cancer?" I didn't say anything. I stormed off and put in her order. Steak and egg burrito quesadilla with nachos. She then does her typical Karen thing and complains that there isn't enough cheese and the steak is too chewy on her quesadilla. So I take it back. They make her a new one. But I put the house hot sauce on it, drenched it. It's a very weird sauce, not a strong smell or flavor, almost pure heat. The second she takes a bit, she starts coughing, then starts to sweat. She coughed for almost 5 minutes straight, and then she threw up in front of the whole restaurant. If you're reading this, Karen, you deserved worse. And our second story. You won the work. No, you didn't. Help me. I worked for an events hire company. We supplied everything from AV to display stands, fencing, staging, etc. So I worked with an organizer that was looking to host a beers and wines festival. Had multiple meetings and provided far too many quotes and prices, but eventually it paid off and signed off to work with us. Fast forward about 2 weeks later. I've had little contact from her, which was very unusual. Out of the blue, she emails me saying they had found a cheaper supplier, almost half the price, and that we were ripping her off, and if we didn't void the contract and return the deposit, she would take legal action. Our prices were very fair and competitive with our main competition, so this really didn't make sense at all why it would be so insanely cheap. I've had this before, and in my experience, it's just best to let these organizers go, rip up the contract, and return the deposit. If you force them to work with you, it becomes an absolute nightmare and just isn't worth it in the long run, as you work with these people for months leading up to the event. The event was still quite a while away as well, so I was confident I could fill in the spot with another. Anyway, it's now 3 days before the festival opens, and I get a call from our story's CB. CB is organizer, me is me. CB, you have to help me, it's CB. Me, sure, what's up? The suppliers arrived to install and the equipment is unusable. The marquees are ripped, displays can barely stand up, and they didn't bring any AV. It's a disaster. Okay, so before I go back to my team, are you needing everything we quoted you right now? Yes, everything. I go back to my team, and although we had a bit on, we agreed we could supply what she needed in time, but would naturally need to charge a premium because it was late as F and meant serious overtime. We didn't want to do it, but pulling her out of the crap would have made waves in our industry and bound to get good words in the right ears due to the festival size. So I call back CB. CB, I have great news. We can get down there later this afternoon and we'll work nonstop over the next 2 days to get this done for you. You're a lifesaver. Thank you all so much. Now, we will require 90% upfront payment, and you can pay the remaining 10% after install is complete. I'll send you an invoice now, but please know the invoice will be a larger amount than before, approximately 30% more due to overtime and just being late. Pretty standard for an event this size. Guess how the mood turns now? But we had a contract. We have a set amount. You need to honor that. You made us rip it up and threaten lawsuit if we made you stick to it. Those are the prices. No other company in this city would be able to deliver what you're asking at this late notice regardless. The price is the price. You can take it or leave it. This is crazy. We had a contract. Throw some nasty words my way on how we're useless and going to get sued. You have 2 hours to let me know if you want to move ahead. Otherwise, the stock will not be available. Goodbye. She never called back and went ahead with the other supplier. Festival was a disaster. She'd also charged independent mobile food vendors and retailers to be at this festival and charged them premium for each spot. The vendors constantly lost power, water, and had zero support during the show, so they naturally took her to court for their money back as they lost money attending the festival. She had to pay back all the businesses that had purchased a spot at the festival through court order and lost her business. Then tried to sue us and blame us for the whole catastrophe, but it didn't go far. Before you say it's sad she lost her livelihood, firstly, she should have canned that event there and then. It doesn't take an organizer to see that this was in no way going to be successful. Secondly, we found out through industry people that she's done this before, but got away with it. So F her. She tried to personally sue me as well, which didn't go far either, but still wasted a lot of my time. And our last story, the litigating neighbors. My family's had a run of bad luck this year. We had a saying last year, it'll be better in 2015. Well, early in the winter, we were greeted with a call of, did you know the marina's on fire? No, we did not know that. It's our marina, by the way. My mother was in denial. We'd gotten this call a few times because the fire trucks fill up by the marina sometimes, and she figured it was just that. I didn't want to counter that the ice was over 10 inches thick at least. I hoped it was just a small fire. It was not. All that was left of the building was a tiny metal frame on one end. For a bit, it seemed like we could twist this fire into a good thing. The building was crap, and we'd never have been able to afford to bulldoze it. It happened in winter, when we'd never make any money anyway. If there was a time for a fire to happen, winter was a good time. The insurance called it a total loss, so anything we salvaged didn't count against us for a payout, but we were able to salvage things. A brief rumor started that it was arson started by us. I might do a post on who started that rumor and why it died so quickly, but it was going good. Then the lawsuit came in. We'd had problems with these people before, but a lawsuit felt a bit over the level of the nastiness they were capable of. They were suing us for harassment over other issues, destruction of family heirlooms, it was a tree, a baby tree, trespassing on property legally declared as ours, and other property-related stuff. We countersued on the not ridiculous stuff. So an important thing to know about this area is that the property lines are effed. When my family got the marina, we were sorting out the property lines with 4 different entities. The parcels were in bizarre places. One was in the middle of the building, surrounded by another parcel. The reason for this is because we're on the edge of 2 counties who both tried to determine the property lines, and they did so by markers that don't exist anymore or are now underwater as the lake levels rise every year. Markers literally in the original property lines are the old oak tree. We did find that one. It's a stump. They were the only people who refused to settle. We had to call in surveyors. Our surveyor gave us 10 feet of land. They didn't like that, so they called in a surveyor. Their surveyor gave us another 30 feet. Oh yeah, we enjoyed that. But on their lawsuit, they tried to go back to the original agreement before any of the surveyors. They had less than a stable case. We took photos of the property line from the water and lined it up with old photos. We got a new survey done after we heard they tried to trick the system by giving a surveyor the property line and getting him to sign off on it. We used the same company they did. The surveyor gave us even more property. They aren't pleasant people to deal with. We'd kept this really quiet, taken the high road. However, they shot themselves in the foot, as expected. They put up orange plastic fence around their supposed property line, which their lawyer told them to take down, and my uncle did rip down in front of them, but it was too late. One of the gossips of the lake asked us what was going on, and we were kind of, don't spread this around, but knowing he'd spread it around. He did. The whole lake knew that these people were suing us, the people who just had a catastrophic fire take our livelihoods. Oh, did it get nasty. We had people pouring in, sneaking gossip to help our case. They had a history of doing this. We were told to get a look at this legal document and that. People with motorcycles offered to drive by multiple times at inconvenient hours, which we explicitly condemned while looking pleased with the idea. Because these people were just being so stupid, I was expecting them to be stubborn through arbitration and shoot themselves in the foot during the court case, and thus, according to state law, pay all our legal fees. They did actually give in at arbitration. We got the property. They brought in 3 lawyers from a nearby large city. We had 1 local lawyer. They then fenced in their tiny, hard-lost property with their lawyer watching the whole time. Someone dropped by to let us know their fence wasn't up to county codes. If we report it, they would have to rebuild it. We've been a little busy, but I think summer, in the middle of their busy season, is the best time to do that anyway. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.